Now tell me, soldier, are you ready to make the 69th Legion proud?
Sir, yes, sir! Welcome back to Lizard of Doom. I am Max. This is a different challenge to the last one. I'm building a Commissar to go with my Death Corps of Krieg's kill team to go in my diorama that's in my diorama. There's a whole playlist on the channel, check it out if you haven't already. The challenge this time is that I'm building a Commissar without using any Commissar bits. This is completely from spares from other kits and my bits box. And a little bit of green stuff into, not a lot. I wanted this to mainly be from the bits that I could draw from my collection, so they won't go to waste. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe. If you're new to the channel, welcome. I'm producing content every Friday at 3 PM UK time, GMT, so let's get on with it. The first kit of interest is this Imperial Knight kit. This was converted into one of my Chaos Knights, link in the corner now. In here, there are spares for the pilot. This is going to be the kind of main body I'm using for this conversion. It's a free little figure you get with the kit. Here is the sprue. It comes with the whole kind of cockpit section that I haven't used yet. And there are two options on here for building this character sitting down in his chair or standing up. I believe you can make both options, as there's different heads and different arms, so you can build him in the cockpit and walking on the floor as well. Obviously, I'm going to be using the floor bit with the straight legs. And these little tubes on there I feel will fit well with the Death Corps of Krieg gas mask kind of aesthetic, and their tubes on that. First thing to do is clip him out and get all the mould lines removed and get him ready for some glue. These Knight kits come with so many spare pieces, they are an unbelievable resource for kit bashers and to top up your bits box. There was a few egregious mould lines on here, which I was a bit disappointed at, seeing as it's a £100 kit. But nothing too bad, nothing you can scrape away with a little blunt scalpel like I've done here. Once I've glued him all together, it is on to the next stage. And this little body is lovely, but it is covered in these weird little straps I'm assuming are kind of like seat belts to strap him into a knight. So let me show you what I'm talking about here. There's a couple coming down like around this midriff section there and here, and yeah, they look like they probably clip in somewhere in the knight, so when the knight gets rocked by a heavy shot, he doesn't fling out of his chair and smash his head on the dashboard. But seeing as he's not a knight pilot anymore, he's a Commissar, these have got to go. A simple scraping with a blunt scalpel and just kind of gouging them off and smoothing it back down is the easiest way to do this. And I did plan to sand it afterwards, but I didn't really need to. The scraping of the scalpel smooths it enough that you can work with it. This guy's uniform is influenced by the new Commissar model. He is armoured and he has a less fancy coat than the old one. This step towards simplicity is something I feel that is important in Games Workshop. The old coat had all these fancy kind of ribbons and strings and buttons, and it's a lot to paint on one tiny guy. And I'm a fan of the leader wearing armour because he's on a battlefield. It just makes a lot of sense to me. Let me walk you through how I came up with the head for this model. I went back to the kill team box to grab a gas mask, as you get 2 or 3 spare heads in here. A Commissar of the Death Corps of Krieg definitely needs a gas mask. There are so many spares in this kit. Games Workshop, you're bonkers. Some kits have none and some kits have 1,000,000 spare pieces. The gas mask head. The gas mask is obviously attached to a helmet. The helmet needs to go. I'm going to take it off at the top and at the side. The head from the Knight Pilot kit is what's going to be the main kind of connector. The neck hole fits perfectly, and I'm going to keep some of this head as well. These two are pretty much the same scale as each other, so they'll morph together quite nicely. The third thing is a Tomb King's skull. More specifically, the headdress on a Tomb King's skull. It's got this nice band around the side and a flat bit at the front, which I feel will make a lovely Commissar's hat beginnings, and adds a little detail like the skull on the front as well, which Commissar hats have little details like that on them too. I got to work on the Tomb King's skull piece first. Tried it with a scalpel, but it was a little bit too tough, so I went with a straight clip just underneath the headband to get the skull off the headdress. Pretty good. I'm going to keep the top of the skull in there. There's no need to mess with that. That'll be covered in a minute. But the bottom does need a bit of a scraping just to make that nice and flat. So when it joins the other pieces in this kitbash, it'll sit nice and flush. A little bit of a scrape. There we go. Next is the Kriegy boy face bit. The plan with this is to take it off down the back of the gas mask and across the top just above that peak of the helmet, because that peak of the helmet is going to double as the peak of our Commissar's hat. So I went with rough little clippy clips to start with and then scrape with the scalpel just to neaten up again and make everything flat and sit flush with the other pieces. I love kit bashing, and this is definitely one of my favourite heads I've made so far. The next part is obviously the Knight Pilot head. I'm going to be taking the top of the head off so the hat bit sits nicely on this flat area. And then I'm going to be taking the face off like John Travolta and Nicolas Cage, leaving the back of his head as it's got these cool little robo bits which I'm assuming where he plugs into a knight, but they could look like bits of gas mask rig. Again, rough clippage, being relatively careful not to hit the bits I want to keep, and time to assemble it together. First of all, test the gas mask fitting. Yes, perfect scale. That is lovely. I really enjoyed this. Very little work need to be done, just straight clipping and a little bit of scraping. So now to glue them together and let that sit for a minute while the plastic glue sets, and then we've got a lovely back of head and face with the cap peak attached. I was going to green stuff a little cap peak, but then I realised I don't need to. Keep it simple, keep that little peak of the helmet. Little bit of glue on top and attach the headdress / Commissar hat brim and front piece. A Commissar isn't a Commissar without the fancy hat. The new one's very honed in and more realistic scale. The older model is a bit more fancy. This is going to land somewhere in the middle due to my green stuff skill level, with a fantastic little base for it from the Tomb King's skull. Bet you didn't think you'd see a Tomb King's skull in this video. I've got a strong base to work with the rim and kind of front flat bit of the hat already ready to go. Now, it wasn't really manageable to handle this head like this and attach the green stuff to the top of the cap, so I had to get a little bit creative and use a paper clip. I drilled a hole in the bottom and a little touch of super glue on the end of the paper clip, and now I've got a handle to use with this head. I selected a bit of green stuff, mixed it up nicely until I had the nice smooth green consistency that you need to work with. Perfect and ready to go. I've got a small blob and put it on top of the hat and started to shape it with my fingers. Now, a little trick is using water on your spatula. I know people like to say use a bit of Vaseline on your tools when you're working with green stuff, but if you keep your tools damp with water, it doesn't stick then either. Vaseline is good, but water is also good in a pinch. After I'd worked with it for a while, I got to a shape I was relatively happy with. This looks good, a nice somewhere in between those two hats from the other Commissars, and the front piece from the Tomb King skeleton headdress is working wonders. Time to attach it to the body. The front hose on the gas mask became a bit of an issue here as it hung down where the neck armour would poke up in front of the face. I clipped it off, leaving a little bit of hose. This was strategic. Then when I attached the head to the body, the bit of hose poked down inside the front of the armour. That, accompanied with all the hose pieces on the rest of the armour, made it look like some kind of gas mask air conditioning rig, and there's a little box on the back of this armour as well, which is a good count as for the equipment that the normal Death Kriegs have on the front of their body, strapped to them with leather straps. This is a high-class Mercedes-Benz of gas mask rigs. As I mentioned earlier, I'm going for a more simple style of coat, and the way I'm going to show this is if it's tucked in under his armour, because the new Commissar model is wearing armour over the top of his coat, and this Knight Pilot model has kind of this breastplate on, and I'm going to make it look like he's wearing it underneath, like the coat is coming out from under the breastplate, you get what I mean? Let me show you what I mean. I flattened out the rest of the blob of green stuff I'd mixed, and then cut strips of equal size to be the two tails of his coat, trimmed them on all sides so they were nice and squared off. Once I'd done this, I had a good starting point for the coat to poke out from under his armour. I applied a bit roughly to the waistband and started to poke with my spatula's edge in under all the pouches and the belt and everything on this armour. This pinched off the top part of the material and created an effect that looked like it was tucked into the armour and the belt, and went underneath bits and bobs like his pistol holster on his waist. Once I'd done that on both sides, I had a nice little coat, and I blended them together in the middle, covering his butt, so the split didn't go too far up his back. This model is going in a diorama in a diorama. So the diorama, the big one, is the battlefield, and he is going to be in a bunker, completely unaware of what's going on outside. And this means that he doesn't really need to be in such an action pose like the Death Corps of Krieg kill team I did last week. So this really influenced the kind of choice for his arms for me, and also I'm not fully explaining what this mini diorama is within the diorama, because I will be making that mini diorama very soon after I paint one more guy for it. I went back to the kill team box to look for arms. The uniform was going to be really good for this, as they had some nice coat sleeves that would really sell that this guy is wearing a long coat like they were. I picked non-combat arms holding a book in one hand and in the other hand holding some kind of paper. This was going to be notes, mission plans, who knows, we'll see. It was really easy to fit them on the model. Just a touch of glue and they fit perfectly. There was no need to trim them, no nothing. They were perfect scale and they fitted on perfectly with all the contact points lining up nicely. Good job, Games Workshop, some nice kit-bashable models here. Everything lines up perfect. Once I'd done that, it was just a case of putting the hands on in a position I was happy with. I'm trying to make it look like he's reading and pacing, like he's trying to figure something out. And what he's trying to figure out, we'll find out in the next couple of videos. Or maybe at the end of this video, who knows? I added a little medal to his chest as well to really show that he was a commissar. This pack of 3 that comes in the kill team box was a little too big when I put it on his chest and I didn't like it, so I trimmed one off the end and stuck it on the left side of his chest to show that he was a well-respected and awarded member of the Imperial Army. Some nice swag for the commissar there. After this, I took him outside to spray, using my ergonomic spray stick with a nice handle there, perfect for holding. When I start doing merch, I'll definitely be selling these for $59.99, just to keep competitive with Games Workshop's miniature spray paint holder thingy-majig with elastic bands. The natural wood really brings a sense of luxury to this product, something you can't get elsewhere with those cheap plastic knockoffs. Now that we're done building, it's time to crack on with painting. But first, last week, I asked you to name this commissar, so I've got your answers on a nice random generator. Let's find out what his name is. Go. Did not know it made sound. Commissar S. Miley. That's his name? No, the fuck, put that in the comments. What's their name? Lost for words. You win! Oh, they've got a little bit of lore here for it as well. Commissar Cyrus Miley, 69th Legion Death Corps of Krieg. He signs all documents S. Miley. In any other regiment, troopers would be calling him Commissar Smiley behind his back. Though as he is assigned to the Death Corps, no one gets the joke. This is actually something he's a little upset about. Nice little bit of lore. Thank you. Talking of lore, it's lizard lore time. I'm going to crack on with painting them in the style that I painted my Death Corps of Krieg kill team last week. So I'm going to time-lapse this footage. If you want to know how to paint this thing, this colour scheme, then there'll be a link up here right now. The only bits I've added to this are a little bit of red in places, and that's just a slight little bit of layering. And that's to bring out his kind of Commissar Regalness. So anyway, on with the lizard lore.
Commissar Miley, sir. You've, got a transmission coming through.
Can't it wait?
It's from Mars, sir.
Oh, patch him through. Yes, you've reached, Commissar Miley of the 69th Legion.
Excellent. Is everything going as planned?
Yes, sir, I believe it is, sir.
Fantastic.
And you're sure this is the right place that we should be searching for?
Absolutely. Everyone else who has been sent by my brothers have been fools. They do not have the information that I have.
Okay, magnificent. Everything's been arranged. We've got the best veteran squad in the 69th Legion ready to go. I've acquired some extra security for us as well, and we're getting the transport ready. We'll be setting off tomorrow, sir.
Fantastic. I will be there with you when you set off.
You're coming here, sir?
Yes, that's what I said. Commissar Miley?
Fantastic. We'll make arrangements so you're comfortable.
There are no arrangements that can make me comfortable on this car, Commissar Miley.
Excellent joke, sir. We'll see you tomorrow, then, sir.
See you then, Commissar.
So who do you think Commissar Cyrus Miley was speaking to in that lizard lore? Leave a little comment below if you can kind of have a rough guess who you think he was talking to. Also, there's going to be an Easter egg for what they're talking about, what this whole diorama is about in this kind of end reveal shots coming up now. So let me know if you see that as well. I've been thinking for a couple of weeks, I wonder if anyone would be interested in a Patreon. And then I got a lovely comment the other day saying, yo, where's your Patreon? So I done made one. If you would like to support me, you don't have to. By all means, watching this video is lovely support. If you could like it and share it and subscribe and all the YouTube nonsense, that really helps me out. If you do feel like kicking a bit of cash my way to help produce all this, I am one man on my own, trying my best. So if you do feel like helping support me, there's a Patreon, there's going to be a Discord server. The rewards I've got in there are the first things I could kind of think of that I could do with the amount of time I have, you know, putting this all together by myself and having a full-time job and a family. I'm a busy boy. So check that out. Link's going to be down in the description, and I don't know if I can link it anywhere up here. If I can, it'll be here. If not, have a look down there in the description. That is all from me this week. I'm going to play you like a minute and a half of cool reveal shots of this fully painted guy with the 69th Legion. So enjoy those cinematic kind of shots with some nice music over the top. Remember, it's not a pile of shame, it's a pile of future fun. Yeah!